Welcome to Insta Summaries, your ultimate source for audiobook summaries.
Welcome. Today we'll delve into the insightful article Getting Strategy Wrong and How to Do It Right Instead by Richard P. Rumelt, published in McKinsey Quarterly. This compelling piece unpacks common pitfalls in strategic planning and execution, providing practical guidance to avoid these mistakes and achieve better outcomes. Rumelt, a renowned authority on strategy, explores how businesses often falter by mistaking ambition for strategy or failing to confront real challenges. Stay tuned as we summarize key takeaways and actionable insights from this thought-provoking article.
Imagine this. You're in a room with 25 top executives from a Fortune 500 company. They're discussing strategy, but instead of tackling real challenges, they're setting lofty financial goals and handing out marble desk weights as souvenirs. Sounds like a success, right? Wrong. Years later, that company lost 30% of its market share. Why? Because they confused strategy with wishful thinking and financial targets. In today's fast-paced, competitive world, getting strategy wrong can cost you everything. But getting it right, that's the difference between thriving and barely surviving. Let's dive into why so many companies fail at strategy, and how you can do it right. The problem? Here's the issue. Too many companies think strategy is about hitting financial goals, like growing earnings by 15% or boosting return on equity. But that's not a strategy. That's just budgeting with a fancy name. Real strategy is about overcoming tough challenges, especially when you're up against clever competitors. It's about figuring out how to win in a complex, ever-changing environment. Yet, time and time again, companies fall into the trap of setting vague goals, ignoring real obstacles, and hoping for the best. Let's look at why this happens, and how to fix it. Main thesis. The central argument here is simple. Strategy isn't about setting financial targets or making broad statements about your purpose. It's about identifying the critical obstacles in your path and crafting a clear plan to overcome them. When companies confuse strategy with financial planning, they miss the mark, and the consequences can be devastating. Key Insight 1. The Royal Field Case Study. Let's take a real-world example. In 2016, a company we'll call Royal Field held a strategy retreat. The CEO presented what he called the strategic commitment, a vague statement about serving customers and providing high-level service. Then, he introduced the Success Scorecard, or SSC, which focused entirely on financial targets, 15% annual growth in earnings and a 15% return on equity. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the catch. There was no real strategy. No discussion of how to tackle the company's actual challenges, like outdated technology, slow engineering responses, or a regional structure in a global industry. Instead, the executives were asked to promise to find new customers, cut costs, and boost profits. Fast forward a few years, and Royal Field lost 30% of its market share. Why? Because they focused on financial targets instead of solving real problems. Key Insight 2. Why companies get strategy wrong. So, why do companies like Royal Field make this mistake? There are two main reasons. First, CEOs are often incentivized to focus on financial results. Their bonuses and stock options are tied to hitting those targets, so it's no surprise that they prioritize them. Second, there's a widespread misconception that strategy is about making broad statements about purpose and values. But that's not strategy, that's just a mission statement. Real strategy requires a deep understanding of your competitive landscape, your strengths and weaknesses, and the obstacles you need to overcome. Key Insight 3. The consequences of poor strategy. The consequences of getting strategy wrong are severe. A McKinsey survey found that 70% of executives are unhappy with their company's strategy process, and 70% of board members don't trust the results. Why? Because these so-called strategies don't guide actual operations. They're just financial targets dressed up as strategy. As Mike Tyson famously said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And in business, the punches come fast and hard. Companies that fail to address real challenges, like technological shifts or changing customer needs, get left behind. What makes strategy hard? Strategy is hard because the challenges we face are often gnarly, complex, messy, and resistant to easy solutions. Think about it. Is your company's slow innovation due to a lack of training, poor leadership, or something else entirely? Gnarly problems don't come with clear answers. They require deep analysis, creative thinking, and a willingness to focus on the most critical issue, the crux of the problem. The crux principle. Here's where the magic happens. The crux is the most important part of a challenge, the one that's both addressable and impactful. Take Elon Musk and SpaceX. Musk's crux was the high cost of space travel. His insight: reusable rockets. By focusing on that one problem, SpaceX revolutionized the industry, cutting costs by 23 times. That's the power of finding the crux. The force of coherence. Another key to strategy is coherence, focusing your resources on the right target. During World War II, General Eisenhower's Bolero strategy focused on securing the United Kingdom and keeping Russia in the war. When President Roosevelt considered diverting resources to Australia, Eisenhower pushed back, maintaining the coherence of the plan. The result: a successful invasion of Europe. Coherence is about saying no to distractions and staying focused on what matters most. Practical implications for businesses. So, what can businesses do to get their strategy right? Here are 3 practical steps. Focus on obstacles, not goals. Start by identifying the critical challenges your business faces. Are you falling behind on technology? Losing key customers? Once you know the obstacles, you can craft a strategy to overcome them. Align incentives. Make sure your leadership team is incentivized to tackle real challenges, not just hit financial targets. If your CEO's bonus is tied to stock price, they'll focus on short-term gains, not long-term success. Be specific. Avoid vague statements about purpose and values. Instead, develop clear, actionable policies that address your specific challenges. For example, if your technology is outdated, invest in R&D or partner with a tech leader. Implementation guidance. Here's how to put this into action. Start with a reality check. Gather your team and ask, what are the biggest obstacles we're facing? Be honest. This isn't the time for wishful thinking. Craft a clear plan. Once you've identified the obstacles, develop a strategy to overcome them. This might involve investing in new technology, reorganizing your business, or targeting new customer segments. Track progress. Set milestones to measure your progress. But remember, these should be tied to overcoming obstacles, not just hitting financial targets. Summary of actionable takeaways. To wrap it up, here are the key takeaways. Strategy isn't about setting financial goals, it's about overcoming obstacles. Focus on your real challenges, not vague statements about purpose. Align incentives so your leadership team is motivated to tackle real problems. Be specific and actionable in your strategy. Track progress based on overcoming obstacles, not just hitting financial targets. Closing thought. Getting strategy right isn't easy, but it's essential. In a world where competition is fierce and change is constant, the companies that thrive are the ones that face their challenges head-on. So, the next time you're in a strategy meeting, ask yourself, are we setting financial targets, or are we solving real problems? The answer could make all the difference. Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, share it with your team, and let's start building strategies that actually work.
What resonates with you the most? Drop in the comments below. Please like and share the video. Please subscribe to the channel for engaging summaries.